boys and girls. It's trivia day, and I'm really excited, and I'm sure you are too. Today we find out who our winners are from each classroom. I'm excited because we had the greatest amount of people participate in this trivia since the beginning, since the first one we did, which had the highest amount of participation. But in this one, we had almost 60% of the fifth graders try this trivia, and I'm really happy about that. We have a lot of winners in the bowl and in the different bowls, because we're going to choose one from each class, and we'll go over that after we go over some other things. I was a little lenient during this trivia because it's been a while since we did it. But I just want to go over the rules again because in the following trivia, I won't be as lenient. So let's look. You must show all of your work. So a lot of you use the strategy of guess and check, which is great. But I want to see how you got there. I'm assuming that most of you didn't guess right on the first turn, so I want to see all the work that you did up until that point. So remember, show all your work when you hand in your trivia. Next, your name must be on the paper with your final answers. I print out the papers, and so I need to make sure that I'm matching the correct email to the correct person. So please, wherever your final answer ends, make sure that you have your name on that paper. The third one is your final answer must have the correct label, or in this case, the correct labels. And they need to be right next to the number. So in this case, you wanted to tell me how many llamas versus how many ostriches. So llamas and ostriches would be your labels. The next one, your final answer and label must be circled. So a lot of you circled your final answer in doing your math, and then wrote your real final answer with the label somewhere else. So that's not exactly what I want. I want you to do your math, finish it, and then show me just what your final answer is with the label and circle it. And finally, I must receive your trivia by Thursday, 9:00 p.m. deadline. So I know that usually it's Thursday at 3 o'clock when we're in school. I know it's difficult because some of your parents are still working and can't get it to me. So I've changed the deadline to 9:00 p.m. on Thursday. And that is what we did this week, and it will go into effect while we're home for every trivia that we do. Okay, so those are the rules. Please make sure you follow them. This time, I saw a couple people who made some careless errors, and I wanted to give them a second chance. So we did that, but that won't happen again. Whatever I receive from you will be what I accept. Now, that doesn't mean if you happen to notice that you've made a mistake, you can certainly send me another one before the deadline of 9:00. But I won't be mentioning any of your mistakes to you like I did this time. Okay? If you have any questions, I'm going to try to set up a Zoom meeting with small groups of you. And so if there's any questions about the trivia, you can ask me then, or your parents can email me their questions. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, we have boys who went out and were asked to count the llamas and ostriches, and instead just counted the heads and the legs. And the uncle said, yep, that's not good enough, and you can't go back out and count again because it's dark. So just figure out a way that you can tell me exactly how many llamas there are and exactly how many ostriches there were. And we knew this information. We knew that together there were 47 heads. So since llamas and ostriches only have one head each, we know that there were 47 animals altogether. We also knew that there was 122 legs. So we have to think. Now, llamas have 4 legs, while ostriches only have 2 legs. So those are the pieces of information that you had to know before you could even begin to solve this trivia. And as I said, most of you used guess and check, and I saw lots of multiplication going on, which was great. Several of you used an organized list, which you know is very near and dear to my heart. I heard that some people tried algebra, and that was great. This was a hard one to do algebra with, but I love algebra, so that was very exciting for me to hear that some of you were starting to learn some of the properties that went along with algebra. And then others used a ratio table. So I'm just going to show 2 of the ones that I think are really organized enough to show you on here. Oh, there was somebody else who actually drew it out. And I loved the way they drew it out because they represented animals like this. And if it was a llama, it had 4 legs. And if it was an ostrich, it had 2 legs. And so when they were trying to adjust to get the right number of legs, because they had 47 circles, which means they had 47 heads, they could just add on if they needed to, which I thought was a brilliant idea. Okay, so now let's look at this. We have, the first thing I want to show you was somebody did a ratio table. And I like the way they set it up. They did ostrich and llama. And then they did heads and feet, heads and feet. And then they started guessing. But they used logical guesses, so they started out with all the combinations they could think of 47, because they knew they needed 47 heads. So this one started out with 10 heads, and if they had 10 heads there, they must have 37 heads over here. Okay, and then because ostriches have 2 legs, they knew that was 20 feet. And because over here they knew they had to have 4 legs, they got 148 feet. Well, right away, they knew that that couldn't be correct, because they only had 122 legs altogether. So I'm thinking, what did they do? They must have put an X right here. And then they tried, okay, well, let's see what happens if we have 15 heads. We know that that's 30 feet for the ostriches. And then we have to subtract from 47, so we get 32 heads on the llama. And that was 128 feet. And again, that can't be, because together they only have 122. So they said, okay, I'm going to increase this again. I'm going to go to 20 heads. And if there are 20 heads of ostriches, then there must be 40 legs. And if there's 20 heads here, there has to be 27 heads here, and that would be 108. Okay, now I have to do some adding, because I'm not up to 122, but I can easily see that if I add 40 and 108, I'd be at 148. So while I'm getting closer, it still isn't correct. And so then they went to 30. Let's make a big jump to 30. That would be 60 feet on the ostriches And if I went to 17 here, I multiply 17 times 4, I would be at 68. Now I'm very close because 60 plus 68 is 128, and I'm very close to 122. So I know I'm in the ballpark. So the next guess was 33 ostriches, and if they added those two together, they got 66. And then we have to figure out what this is. So if there's 3, I can look at it this way. If there's 3 more here, then I have to take away 3 from here, and I get 14 llamas. And if I multiply 4 times 14, I get 56 legs. So how close am I now? Well, if I do 66 legs plus 56 legs, I get exactly 122. So right there, using this chart, I know that I have, or that the boys had 33 ostriches and 14 llamas. And that's our answer, labeled and circled. Okay. There's a lot of hard work going on here. And so then I have another organized list to show you. And I'll just try to put it down here. I'm not going to do all of them because you have the idea of how it goes. But again, they had ostriches, and they had llamas, and then they had total legs, and then yes or no. And this person started out with 20 ostriches, and so they did 20 times 2 equals 40. And then they knew that they had to have 27 llamas, so they did 27 times 4, and they got 108, total legs 148, and then no. And they followed the same pattern that this person did, very similar patterns, until they ended up with just 122 legs. So great job, everybody. I was really, really pleased to see how many people participated and how many people got it correct. There was a lot of multiplication going on here, and you all did a beautiful job. All right, let's get to the winners now. We will start with, where am I? We'll start with my class. And I can tell you actually who's in the bowl if you would like. And if you didn't end up in the bowl, you will be receiving an email from me pointing out where your mistake might be. So in the bowl is Addie, Nick, Travis, Alyssa, Audrey, Owen, Will, Allie, Aaron, and Reagan. So beautiful job. And the winner is Audrey. Congratulations, round of applause. Okay, next we will do Mrs. Heath's class. And in the bowl from Mrs. Heath's class is Maggie, Aiden, Aaliyah, Owen H., Riley, Colin P., and Liam. Congratulations, all of you, for doing a great job. And the winner is, Aiden Nealon. So congratulations, Aiden. Again, round of applause. And finally, we have Mrs. Sullivan's class. And in Mrs. Sullivan's bowl is Ryan, Vince, Colin Westcott, Cameron, Catalina, Gianna, Harrison, Aiden Armstrong, and Kaylee. And the winner is Catalina. Nice job. Another round of applause. Okay, that's it for trivia. I was so excited to see all your hard work. I miss you all, and stay tuned. We will be having another video later on today.